Real Judah, Peasy. Yes. And our future and Aria Muna. Yes. Let's get it in.
Persecuted for my Savior name. Everybody says they feel the pain until somebody tells them prove it, man. Y'all should say this, you gon' feed my sheep. Of your pie, will you give a piece? I receive peace when I give a piece. 10% of my increase at least. I ain't talking give it to the pastor, cause me, I'm trying to see the life after this one. So I give cause charity make this Black Lives Matter. I remove the laughing from my back, cause wisdom, I'm trying to have her. So food I give it be that good food, cause I'm trying to the kingdom fast. I get good fruit, I must spread the fruit. Push it to my seeds, them is my tell what I was on. Not my fruit. If you like my fruit, cause you don't like the book. Cause in my flow, I recite the book. I take no credit, I praise it to the Father. It's forgery. Just go take a look. Cause what I say is what the opposite say. I just say it in a modern way.
In a modern way.
The dirt, he's the creator. I am just the clay. I'm just trying to emulate and show his ways. Exalt his name and give him praise. Look at my face. In this race, I'm trying to finish first. In the last day, I'm going A. Watch me go against the grain. Watch me go against the grain. I'm going A. Watch me go against the grain. Watch me go against the grain. I'm going A. Watch me go against the grain. Watch me go against the grain. I'm going A. Watch me go against the grain. Watch me go against the grain. I'm going A. Watch me go against the grain. Watch me go against the grain. I'm going A. Watch me go against the grain. Watch me go against the grain. I'm going A. Watch me go against the grain. Watch the grain. I'm going A. Watch me go against the grain. Watch me go against the grain.
One thing that I learned is walking down this journey on this narrow road. Gotta keep your soul with all diligence, regardless of the cold. Hearted all the way you say and let it hold up. Keep the faith within you, which is more precious than gold. Give you 10% and reap 100-fold. But everybody wanna know. As soon as your life reflects you as a reader of the Bible and the truth, the faithful seeker. Temptation, he jihad than the feeble. Understand how the devil trying to see you. Various trials, temptations, tribulations, all the turn from his mission. Do it, make serving God an issue. Take it something in a So don't let the grain operate the same as everybody else. Your demise, unfortunately, in the later end, you'll realize decline. All by design, comfort makes you blind. And that's why you the redeemer and following the crowd and has your ability to see and you're asleep. But none of us sleep because up to a dreamer. We in the awakening needs no Dr. King. I'm in that he's sipping to the believer.
Yeah. Watch it on. Shabbat Shalom.
Everybody love my car, even the popo, they pulled me over just to take photos. I used to want to be a dollar man, only all my day I knew was the dollar man. But the moment that I went against the grain, the Father gave me $1, a Zion man. So on every track, I be giving back. I give them milk instead of the Similac. I give them calf if they're needing that. I just give them back, so I used to give them back. Yeah, I used to be the Pac-Man, but me and the Father made a Pac-Man. The word is my
Yes.
yeah, Pac-Man. The word is my food and I'm Pac-Man. See a lot of brothers talk that Bible talk, see that Bible walk, they ain't with it. If you don't read the law, you can't live the law on your head, keep the law like the fitted. I like my people to a hula hoop. We go round and round until we fall. But the saints don't want
Hoorah.
See me at the neck of the enemy with scriptures that cut like a razor blade. See me, I'm coming that shit head, boy. With precepts, I wish it for fade. I'm a child of the way, set up our pathway, our destination, it ain't the same. To the world, they say do watch me go against the grain. Watch me go against the grain, I'm going watch me go against the grain. Watch me go against the grain, I'm going watch me go against the grain.
The merge on.
Watch me go against the grain, I'm going watch me go against the grain. Watch me go against the grain, I'm going watch me go against the grain. Watch me go against the grain, I'm going watch me go against the grain. Watch me go against the grain, I'm going watch me go against the grain. Watch me go against the grain, I'm going watch me go against the grain. Look,
Want to. What makes you
When you go against the
dream
grain,
for the night? What will make you what will make you shine?
so when you keep the law,
Law.
it will.
Welcome to the Hebrew state of being. I am your humble servant and host in a biblical sense for this evening. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. In the building, I got my rib, my butter pecan, Miss Artist 28. Yes, Lil Man is away by his pops. So we are in the building, solo dolo, like some kids in the building, right? So, man, tonight, the theme or the title rather for this Shabbat lesson is money and misinformation versus patience and the Most High Shaddai. Money and misinformation versus patience and the Most High Shaddai. So when we are looking at this world that we are in on this day, where everyone can't seem to stop talking about how chatty Trump and Obama was. In a day and time where the fires in the West Coast are burning people's homes, something that happens every year, something that they could prepare for but have not. My aunt Kathy, sending prayers out to her. She lost her home in this fire, and the tenants that were in her home also are out of a home now. These tragedies and calamities that we've been speaking of hits home. It happens to the righteous. It happens to the ill. It happens. I see Waxaba in the building. Money and misfortune, or misinformation rather, is the call of this world, the call of this nation in particular. Money and misinformation is how this nation operates on a normal, everyday basis. Your school systems is misinformation. The so-called workforce is a lie and tells you that minimum wage is what you are due. They tell you to go and get a college education to only put yourself in debt and then have to crawl out of it for the next 20 years due to interest and whatnot. And the more you accrue in debt, say a doctor or lawyer with a specialty, surgeons and whatnot, you get higher pay because you owe more. This misinformation and lies of money being the only thing that can make you happy, the only thing that can make you content. The only thing that can keep you okay in this world if you have money, not if you have the Most High, not if you have a beautiful family, not if you have you've done something worthwhile with your life. No, it is only how much have you made, how fly have you been, how much can you take the misinformation and turn it into fool's gold. Can you take the misinformation of this world, the lies in the school system, the lies in the history, the lies of the New Testament, the lies of the Abrahamic faiths, can you turn that into fool's gold? Because it's based upon nothing. You see Obama and Trump chatty and supposed to be enemies. You see how this world operates in conjunction to have laws that continue to keep you down, that continue to separate you economically. Yet you think because you are able to buy a bottle at the club on Fridays, or you can afford a nice whip, or you got yourself a home, or you think you got a baddie on your side, that you've won. I see Medea in the building. Oh, good to see you, Queen. She made my first fringes for me, y'all. Wow, it's a pleasure to have you in the building. Everything that they tell you is a win in this world. Everything that they tell you that you are supposed to strive for is a separation from your spirit and a separation from your creator. It is to dwell and worship on the physical things that you can see, when the world is way more than you can see or grasp. And you would be correct that China would have a better education system. You'd be correct that many other nations have a better education system. At one time we led, but that's neither here nor there. The title of the lesson is Money and Misinformation versus the Patience and the Most High. The song that I played prior is Peasy, featuring Aria Muna of Real Judah, Against the Grain and Misinformation. We're gonna, before we get into the scriptures, we on this Shabbat, we blow the shofar, let the professionals blow the shofar, and we pray to the Most High that the words that I'm going to bring forth tonight in this lesson is not just the words that the Most High struck me to give, but it is an answer to whatever questions that have been plaguing you, that the Most High has made you be here today. So when we stand to the east at the shofar blast, we are going to pray to the Most High that these words, when you take them in and you let them resonate with you, that the Most High levels you up immediately in that moment. Let me screen share our professionals, the old men, blowing the shofar. Go. And then we're going to stand to the east and say that prayer. Let the Most High resonate, let these words resonate to you, and they answer your prayers or your questions. All praise to the Most High. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Let's get it in, man. All right. Now that we've taken care of the temple duties, we have our frankincense and myrrh blowing, and we've blown the shofar. Now we can read the Most High's word. All praises unto the Most High. So we're going to start our lesson off with Proverbs chapter 22, verse 7. And it reads, "The rich rule the poor, and the borrower is a slave to the lender." Now, we talk all day about the horrific realities of the transatlantic slave trade, where people were taken against their will and made to work for no wages. The Most High says, but you are the same as those when you are a borrower of this world. The Most High has not brought us into these lands of our captivity without grace and mercy and covering. But in order to receive that, you must have patience. In order to have patience intellectually, you must, I see Lila in the building. In order to have patience intellectually, you must understand why you are having patience. You're having patience because the Most High is moving things as you are being righteous, as he is seeing your metal, as your metal is being tested. Will you stay aligned with him, or will you choose the world? Many people are perishing because they're on that line teetering. They speak it, but they don't do it. So they're on the line and they wind up falling because the Most High is not one to be tricked. The Most High knows our heart before we speak it, before we intellectualize it. God sees our heart and knows our intentions. The Most High says that to borrow from this world is to be a slave to this world. You say, well, man, we are at the bottom of the barrel. Why are we at the bottom of the barrel? Because we're in captivity. Why we don't make that connection that we are the tribes that are lost, that are in this captivity, that is spoken up in this book. That is why we are in a place of captivity where we have low or no commerce, where commerce is made to be an obstacle course. I see my brother Yawan is in the building, all praises. Most of them are in Central and South America, brother. Only like 4% was sent to America. Oh, you are absolutely correct. I'm so glad that someone else knows the information that only 4% was sent here. I love that, but allow me to offer you the Apocrypha. Allow me to offer you the 10 tribes that left from Assyria, that it took a year and a half for them to make it by this way. Allow me to present that though this nation here isn't a one or a monolith of one type of people that were here prior, though the northern tribes made their trek over here, they were not the first over here, but they were here prior to the 4% of Yehuda, because the prophecy said that Yehuda and Benjamin, the southern tribes, would be the ones that will go into captivity into the transatlantic by way of ships, the northern tribes. And how do we know? How can we say definitively that the northern tribes of Assyria came over here? We look at it through a cultural perspective. What was the Assyrians and the northern tribes worshiping at the time? They were worshiping a totem pole, an Asherah. We cannot find, but in maybe one other place in the Pacific, that you have totem pole worship. Totem pole worship is a major component of some of the North American tribes that were here before the transatlantic slave trade. Those tribes, not all, we attribute to being part of that northern tribe that came here. So though 4% would be of the southern, Judah and Benjamin, Gad, Naphtali, Reuben, and some of the others did make their way here after the Assyrian captivity. The Most High stated in his scripture that in the end times that Israel, the northern tribes, would no longer vex the southern tribes of Yehuda, and that they will become one stick. And the Most High also in scripture said that he would put all the tribes and mix them all together, that there would not be you would not be able to particularly say that this family is this one particular tribe of the nations, right? Do I mean the Siberians? The Siberians came later. They came after. So you had people that were already here in the South. There's a thing, look up Bog people, B-O-G, people of Florida. So archaeologists found this lost burial ground in the bogs of Florida that preserved many of these bodies. And in those bodies, they were able to prove that by doing autopsies, they were able to prove that they were there during and before the Ice Age, which would predate many of the things that we are discussing, right? So these people that were here prior to the northern tribes coming, that you can find in the southeastern of the United States. These bog people, they were found to be melanated here prior to the Ice Age and prior to the Siberians in their trek during the Ice Age, as they say, right? During the Ice Age. So they were melanated, and when they did their brain tissue, when they went into their skulls, they were able to prove that their brain tissue said that they had the same intellect or capability of intellect as modern day humans. That's the biggest part that you need to see in the bog people, that we didn't come from apes, that we didn't slowly evolve, that we had the same intellectual capacity before the Ice Age as we do today. So when I speak about the fam here, not everyone that were aboriginal to this land were of the 12 tribes, but we are sprinkled through here. And I'll give you one more example of us being here. When you look at the tribe of Mali, right, East Coast, when you look at Abu Bakr was a Hebrew out of the tribe of the Ashanti. Before his nephew, before his younger brother, Mansa Musa, actually became and married, well, Muhammad married Mansa Musa's niece, and then they became Muslim, right? So Abu Bakr came here to the Americas with 40,000 ships. And if you look at the Creek book, the book of the history of the Creeks, right, they speak of Abu Bakr coming 500 years before the European came. And that Abu Bakr people mixed in with the Aboriginal of the Creeks, which would be Alabama and Georgia, right? So this is actually historically written. So when we are speaking this, right, and we are talking, and I'm so glad you asked that question because I was able to answer that, my brother. Thank you, because that helps me explain to you guys that we are the people, right? That this scripture isn't just for the 12 tribes. The 12 tribes have a responsibility. They were chosen to speak the word of the Most High and to keep the law, to be an example. It's like being the oldest child, right? When the mother and the father leaves, the oldest child is responsible for keeping the rules of mom and pop. So Yehuda, the 12 tribes being chosen, simply means that we have a mission, that this word resonates. We are supposed to give this word. That's why I use in the beginning of the prayer when this word resonates with you, because everybody ain't everybody. All skin folk and kin folk. So you got some people that's going to resonate with Kim. You got people that's going to resonate with Moors, that's Moabites, because they come from that line. There's going to be people that's going to resonate with the Aboriginal of this land. What your soul, after you've done your research, your due diligence, what your soul craves is what you are. I fell 16. I'm gonna give you two stories before we get back to the scripture, just to double down on what I'm saying. 1 second. I fell 16 and a half feet. I searched and read about all religions. From Yoruba, I started off with Yoruba. First, I'm born here in New Orleans, so I was an altar boy. I was Catholic from the beginning. Then I left Catholicism and went to baptism, and then I fell 16 and a half feet. So then I did a giant search and study of all religions. After all, I was bedridden for quite some time. After all, it took me 3 years to heal. So I had a lot of time to study and read, not watch YouTube clips, right? So in reading and studying all of these religions, to the Vedas, to the cuneiform of Sumer, to Iki and Enlil's, to the Gilgamesh, all of it, baby. I went through all of it. I went to language, history. After I read all of their propaganda, I went to history. What lined up with history with the fall and the rise of kingdoms. And then I learned that all of these names in this Old Testament still exist, but they changed the names. Then I found out that they changed the Most High's name. Then I realized that the New Testament was a direct contradiction to the Old Testament. See, I found truth. It resonated with me. Emerald Tower. I did a whole lesson on that one, my brother. That one's hard for me to just touch upon and keep moving. Great question, but you must understand that it's written in Aramaic. You must understand that there is no actual emerald tablets that they have stored anywhere, that they have rewritten them. They've had additions added on to it. There's a lot of things that goes with the emerald tablets, but the last story about how things resonate and when you do your research. So as I went through history, I then wanted to find out who I was as much as I could, because we're in captivity and all of our records are kept by the Catholic Church. So then I went to oral history of my family. And then I went and added the oral history to what I could find in the churches. And what we found was that my father's side, so you can understand this makeup when we say who's here and who's not, right? Because the transatlantic slave trade brought slaves only. History will tell you that the Hebrews of Portugal, Iberian Peninsula, Spain, were being persecuted when the Moors and the Christians made a union together. And in that union, the Christians hated the Hebrews because they wanted to replace the New Testament in their religion. In order to do that, you got to clear the block. They did that from the 12 to the 1400s before Christopher Columbus set sail. So many affluent Hebrews, Judah, Benjamin, and others fled to the Americas and the Caribbean. I tell you that because I'm living proof. My grandfather fled, my great-great-great-grandfather fled in the 1300s from the south of France and made it to Mississippi, and then married an Aboriginal woman in Natchez, Mississippi, which then was known as Indian Village. Then his grandson made his way to New Orleans, and his son became my grandfather. So my Hebrew roots doesn't come through a transatlantic slave. And then my mother's side is Aboriginal to this land, and we still have a parish here named after our tribe called Abolis, but they say that we completely wiped away. Hello, I'm still here. So when we talk about who's here, it's very important for us to understand that a lot of us are here, that a lot of different bloodlines made it here in a lot of different ways. And although your capturer has told you that you only came through the slave ships and only 4%, but then yet you had a whole bunch that came here by themselves off their own accord with their own dollar, fleeing religious persecution. Let's go to Proverbs 6. Because, see, the Catholics' reason for getting rid of the Hebrews was because we were the merchants. We had that dollar. That's why the Catholic Church said, if you want to be a Christian, you got to do what Jesus said. Give up all your worldly possessions. Give it to the church. Give all your earthly possessions to the church. And that's the only way you can be saved. We're talking money, right? Mammon. That's what they call it in the scripture. Mammon. Proverbs chapter 6, 1 through 5. Proverbs chapter 6, 1 through 5. My son, if you have stood surety, right, for your fellows, giving your hand for another. It says, my son, if you have stood surety for your fellow, you spoke for somebody, you didn't. co-sign something. You standing in his place saying, if he ain't got it, I got it. Say, giving your hand for another, you have been trapped by the words of your mouth. Ooh. This is so important. Trapped by the words of our mouths. Y'all know how much y'all trap yourselves by your own mouth, by your own words, by your own fleshly intent coming out that pie hole? Do you know? And then you go into this thing about, I got to be a man of my word, a woman of my word. Is it of righteousness? If it's not, then there's no word at all. And it says, you have been trapped by the words of your mouth, snared by the words of your mouth. Do this then, my son, to extricate yourself, to release, to break yourself from. For you have come into the power of your fellow. Go grovel. Ooh. The Most High is telling you to go and grovel. Wow. And badger your fellow. Give your eyes no sleep, your pupils no slumber. Save yourself like a deer out of the hand of a hunter, like a bird out of the hand of a fowler. That's when the Most High is talking about you being owed to someone, giving your word to someone. Break it. Whatever you got to do by any means necessary. If your word isn't of righteousness, if it isn't connected unto the Most High, if I say to you that this small thing has corrupted our community in a manner that you can't even imagine, because most people now can't listen. We don't have conversations. We don't exchange information. We are all now standing on some information. We are not open to hear. We are not open vessels. No. And then some of you are just such an open vessel that you can't stop anywhere. Most High says that this money and misinformation of your word unto someone that has lied unto you, for you to back up a falsehood, for you to amen a lie, you are trapped. And worst of it all, by your own words of allegiance. Let's go to Psalms 37. We must have patience in the Most High before we stand up and hold our flag for anyone, before you vote and vouch for anyone. You are supposed to be calling upon the Most High for his understanding for what righteousness is. And if you see no righteousness, then you don't choose evil. How about that? How about the fact that the Most High says, do not choose between two evils? If you won't see righteousness, then flee, because you're going to be trapped. Psalms 37. I went to Proverbs by mistake. That's why I'm fumbling. Forgive me. Psalms 37, verse 7 through 9. And it reads, be patient and wait for the Most High High-Shaddai. Do not be vexed by the prospering man who carries out his schemes. It's really hard for us to understand this. It's extremely hard for us to understand that even though this world, this nation is prospering, that it's doing of evil and it's going to come to an end. You look at your flesh and your mortality, and you look at the get rich or die trying idiots of 50 cents and the music that has been pushed into our psyche, not to our eardrums, but into our psyche, the way that we think, by our capturers that want us to continue to try to get rich or die trying in their system. We have to go against the grain and understand that going against the grain is bringing our riches into our storehouse, into our community, not into their government, not into their churches, not into their lives. Your storehouse is your vessel as well. We're going to get into that. So verse 8 of Psalms 37, it says, give up anger, abandon fury, do not be vexed. It can only harm. It can only do harm. Verse 9, For evil men will be cut off, but those who look to the Most High, they shall inherit the land. The Most High is saying, give me patience. I'm going to get rid of the evil. If you are doing righteous, the path that you want, the thing that you want to claim, don't go to the world for it. Don't claim it in the world. Don't do it in the manner of the world. You do it in the manner of the Most High and patience and living a life of righteousness. Studying to seek him, studying to be a master of your craft. The Most High moves things out the way. But if you just trying to figure out what makes the most money instead of what talent the Most High has bestowed upon you from birth and becoming a master of that through one of these career paths that they've laid out, your talents supersede any of these capturers' career paths. You can excel with the talent that the Most High has given you because he's going to support that talent if you're doing it in righteousness. I don't know why that's hard to understand, but here it says, verse 9, for evil men will be cut off, but those who look to the Most High shall inherit the land. When the Most High is telling us not to be angry, I tell you guys, that's the thing that I work on a consistent basis. It's hard for me because I feel like if I'm not angry, I don't care because that's the other side. If I'm not angry, I could care less. I'm trying to, with the Most High, work that middle ground to care, but not to be wrapped up in my efforts and the obstacles that come my way. I'm about knocking down obstacles, but sometimes the Most High says, even if you knock the obstacle down, you lose because you're not doing it in a righteous manner. You're doing it with your hate. You're doing it with your anger. You're doing it with your ego. You are not doing it in a manner where I make your enemies your footstool. You're doing it in a manner where you're raising war. Let's go to Proverbs 15. I love that song, Reincarnation, that Kendrick Lamar has, especially when he's talking to the Most High and says, I'm trying to bring peace. And the Most High said, but you love war. And he's like, no, I don't. He says, yes, you do. Yes, you do. It's something about man, that conquering spirit of man, that I will not let you kill me. It's man, you know what I'm saying? We just have to understand how to control that, how to put that in the proper perspective. Here in Proverbs 15, verse 16, it reads, better is little with fear of the Most High than great wealth with confusion. I also can go to Biggie on that one and say, more money, more problems is what he coined. It sounds very similar to what is said here. So now is Biggie a liar and the Most High is a liar? So if there's more money, more problems, then why are we seeking more money? Why are we not seeking the riches of the Most High, the resources of the Most High, the path of the Most High, instead of just money? I did mentoring in the schools with kids, and I would always ask them what they want, and they said they wanted to be rich. It was easy setup because every school did it. Every kid all said, I want to be rich or I want to be famous. That's the only thing that our kids understood. Not that they want to be closer to the Most High, not that they want to follow their path, not that they want to be the best of their talent, just rich or famous. Then you ask them the question, well, how do you plan to get to that? I don't know. I might do basketball or I sing, some type of talent that the Most High gave him, but to use it for this world. I can't believe that many of the people that had those kind of concepts as a child changed much as an adult unless they found the scripture and found the Most High. Or they had some real mentors, real people that raised them and then just let them grow up. Most High says, Proverbs chapter 15, verse 16, better a little with fear of the Most High. I'm going to say fear is understanding of the Most High. Fear is the first step of loving the Most High. Knowing that what you fear in this world pales in comparison to what the Most High can do. It's supposed to elevate you to walk with the Most High and not of the world, when you understand that he can do greater problems than them. He can bring more issues for a longer time with a clean hand. I see Mark in the building. What's up, my brother? Touch show. I say shalom. And it says, better a little with fear of the Most High than great wealth and confusion. Verse 17, just to go one extra. Better a meal of vegetables where there is love than a fattened ox where there is hate. Better is vegetables and love than meat and hate. Choose wisely what you sacrifice your spirit and your mind for, because it is required for any wealth. Your spirit and your mind is required. All the get rich little people that be on the stage, what more are you going to give? Are you willing to do more? What are you willing to do for your million? What are you willing to do for your big house? What are you willing to do for the peace of mind and sanctity of the Most High? Let's go to Proverbs 3, verses 9 and 10. And it reads, honor the Most High with your wealth, with the best of all your income. Wow. Is that why we have our feast days of the first harvest? As a resemblance of where you're supposed to give your first to? Well, now that we have no planting, that's not in our system anymore. We're not farmers anymore. We're not sheep herders anymore. We're not agriculturalists anymore, as George Washington Carver wanted us to do. But we decided to follow E.D. Du Bois and them Zeal Hurstons and all them, and got an education, more indoctrination with a bill and debt, which made you a slave all over again. When George Washington Carver wanted us all to till the land, own the land that we already had. And then the Europeans came in and did sharecropping and pencil whipped and stole all of our land. These are facts, historical facts, as a matter of fact. When the Most High says, verses 9, honor the Most High with your wealth, with the best of all your income, and your barns will be filled with grain. Your vats will burst with new wine. With new wine. Shabbat Shalom. Says 11, do not reject the discipline of the Most High, my son. Do not abhor his rebuke. We allowed these new religions, these Abrahamic faiths, to tell you that the Most High of the Old Testament was a mean one. He was a vengeful one. He required all these sacrifices and whatnot. They told you in the new, all you needed was the concept of being saved through the blood that they killed, that they slaughtered. How convenient that they can tell you to worship the person they said they slaughtered in their story. Your story never includes your creator being killed by anything or anyone. Your creator cannot be killed by flesh. Ask the Tower of Babel. Arrows up, blood came down with the arrows, thought they was actually touching the Most High. Like they could have made the arrows go through the Van Halen belt, get to the heavens, to pierce something that is not of flesh, but then to come down with blood where blood doesn't rain. And they believed it. What do you believe in this day? what you believe in. Because that's what the question comes to. Verse 10. And your barns will be filled with grain, your vats will burst with new wine. 11. Do not reject the discipline of the Most High, my son. Do not abhor his rebuke. Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 5. Verse 10. As his substance increases, so do those who consume it. What then does the success of its owner amount to but feasting his eyes? A worker's sleep is sweet, whether he has much or little to eat, but the rich man's abundance doesn't let him sleep. He's always worried someone's trying to take it. It's got to be on watch. But a hard day's work and an honest pay, a man sleeps well. Note, honest pay. Here it says, as his substance increases, so do those who consume it. As we talked about, you getting money from these new careers, but yet you got to pay off your student loans. You got to pay off debt. You have to buy a home on credit because they made it so exorbitant that you must buy it on credit, so you must be in debt. And then they give you a 30-year mortgage to pay it off. That's all pretty much your adult life, right? So if most people don't buy a house at 21. It would be great if a family could pass a home on to a child at 21, but they have taken our children from the home at 18 and we sent them away to their universities. So now it's not like we're going to pass that homestead or buy them a homestead. That's not a thought. They're going to buy a house wherever they go. So we're not improving in the family's wealth. We're spreading it so that we can continue to pay them. But if you did it at 21, fresh out of college, bought your home 30 years, you're 52 years old. If you're lucky. The traps are set in this nation to take your wealth as fast as you get it. Most High says, if you live a humble life, a meager life, I don't mean nothing. I don't mean no joy. Just not stupid. Trying to keep up with the Joneses and put your wealth in righteous places and support righteous places. Bring your stuff into the storehouse and your vats and your new wine will burst. Let's go to Proverbs 23. Proverbs chapter 23. We're going to read verses 1 through 10, and it says, when you sit down to dine with a ruler, consider well who is before you. Thrust a knife into your gullet if you have a large appetite. Do not crave for his dainties, for they are counterfeit food. Most High is saying, as you sit before a ruler, and as he has put this food before you, stab yourself before you take it from them. Understand that this is not real food that he's giving you. This is something that you're going to owe. I can think of for a while being in the building. This is counterfeit food. Do not toil to gain wealth. Have the sense to desist. You see it, then it's gone. It says, understand now how to calm yourself down. As soon as you get it, it's gone. It grows wings and fly away like an eagle. I appreciate you coming in, my brother. Truly, I'm glad that you enjoyed the word, my brother. All praises. Like an eagle, heaven ward. Do not eat the stingy man's food. Do not crave for his dainties. He is like one keeping accounts. Eat and drink, he says to you, but he does not really mean it. The morsels you eat, you will vomit. You will waste your courteous words. Do not speak to a dullard, for he will disdain your sensible words. Do not remove ancient boundary stones. Do not encroach upon a field of orphans. Now, this right here, Brother Yawan, and everybody that's on YouTube and on Instagram, thank y'all for being in the building. I see a Coty is in the building. Shabbat Shalom, Queen. Says, put a Coty. So, the Most High says that whatever you eat and drink, they counting, and they're going to expect it back from you. They're going to expect it back. Everything that you get flies away from this world when you depend upon this world to get it. It says, do not speak to a dullard, for he will disdain your sensible words. I put a post up today, and this speaks to it because it says, do not remove ancient boundary stones. The little YouTube TikTok is saying that the Moors came from America and that they have Plato was the one that said it, and then they believe that Plato got all his information from Kemet. Not that they know he got it from that, but they just feel like because Plato said he got all his knowledge from Kemet, that Kemet said that the Moabites were the ones, the Moors were the ones that was in America. That's not true. That's such a lie. That's why the Most High said don't remove boundary stones, because there's a boundary stone in Morocco that says exactly where the Moors came from, and it was Moab, right outside of Jerusalem, till he got kicked out by Joshua. This is historical facts. So when you got your TikTok, because if you remove that stone, then I wouldn't be able to tell you that. If that stone is called the Moab Stele, look it up. On the Moabite stone, look it up. If there wasn't the stone there and there wasn't record of the stone, then a TikTok, y'all might believe that. People will actually believe it if there wasn't other people saying, oh, bro, that's a stone cold lie, bro. In every sense of the word, homie. That's a lie. Moors or Moabites. Period. It's historical. That's where they get the name from. They didn't go to Morocco and then call themselves Moors. They named it Morocco after them being Moabites, coming from Moab. Let's go to Proverbs 11. Proverbs 11, verse 4, and it reads, wealth is no avail on the day of wrath, but righteousness saves from death. Y'all don't believe that? You don't believe that money doesn't save you in the day of wrath? I'm going to say it again. All of you that believe that your money is going to save you, you do your whole life to get this mammon off of this misinformation, and you believe that's going to save you, but in actuality, in order to do so, it's an absolute lie. Absolute lie. What the heck is this? I'm sorry, guys. Something just popped up on my live, and I'm trying to make sure I don't lose. Yeah. matter where I'm signaling. I got this thing going right into the modem, directly into the computer, and yet it's still paid for. So it's quite an issue. Thank y'all for y'all patience. All right, now we are reconnected. All right. So here, as we're reading in our Proverbs 11, verse 4, wealth is of no avail in a day of wrath, but righteous saves from death. When there was a trail of tears, many of the Aboriginal here had lots of money. They took their money with them, but they were still kicked out of their land. Once they came to Oklahoma, they were extorted out of that money there. Then you have Tulsa, Oklahoma, and they dropped the bomb on them there. Then you have reservations that they put there that gave them nothing but alcohol. They give you nothing of this world. Everything you think that you're gaining of this world, they extract from you. You must understand that patience and waiting on the Most High to provide is something that can't be taken from man. Let's go to Proverbs 22, verse 1. It says, repute is preferable to great wealth. Grace is better than silver and gold. Verse 2, rich men and poor men meet. The Most High made them both. The shrewd man saw trouble and took cover. The simple kept going and paid the penalty. Are you going to pay the penalty? You're going forward. Understanding has been given. I see Jay in the building. Understanding has been given to the riches of this world, to the mammon of this world, that it is all counterfeit food, that it is all a lie. Living your life for the mammon of this world, for the misinformation of this world, is only going to bring ruin to you. Yes, this truth is hard. This truth is real. It's only because your flesh is connected to this world, to the meat and to the hate, to the propaganda of this world. Let's go to Proverbs 16:16. Let's prove out these words. Proverbs 16:16, it says, how much better to acquire wisdom than gold? To acquire understanding is preferable to silver. The highway of the upright avoids evil. Avoids evil. Not attack it, not convert it, not fight and contend with it. The Most High has a place for you where he protects and gives grace and mercy. Your patience in him, following him. And it's easy to follow the Most High. All you have to do is follow righteousness. Exodus 20, if you're unsure what righteousness is. It's written out simply one chapter. Exodus 20. Do not follow this world and the money of this world. This world is falling. The concept of having money in a time when this place fails is not going to save you. You can have $1 million. If the American dollar falls and it becomes only $1 to the $55, if it only becomes $55, your $1 becomes 55 compared to the $1 of the bricks, then you have now taken your million and cut it in half. If not more. If the dollar was to fall, then what will your dollar have done for you? When your family goes crazy because you can't provide the amenities of hair and nails every week, you can't provide the amenities of the mall every week and buying new clothes every week, you can't afford the amenities of new cars and new vacations and trips, does that mean your family don't love you? Does that mean that you're a failure? Really? So the success of my life is whether I could pamper my wife and my child, whether I could extravagantly take them on trips. If not, then I failed. I haven't made a man out of my son. I haven't been a great husband to my wife. loving her, hearing her, making her feel secure. Proverbs 16:16 says, how much better to acquire wisdom than gold, to acquire understanding is preferable to silver. You have to decide what is valuable. The Most High said that the most valuable thing on this world is wisdom, and it's not something that you can touch. It's not something that you can pick up and put down with your hands. You can deny wisdom. The wisdom can deny you. The most precious thing in this world is a peace of mind. Money does not guarantee a peace of mind. You may believe that because you don't have money, and you believe that all of your problems are directly connected to money. Your mismanagement of it, your desires for it, your sacrifices for it could all play a part in that. All the Most High could just be trying to show you that that's just not the end all be all. Let's go to Isaiah 45. We're almost out of here. I got 2 more scripts for you guys. 2 Isaiah readings, and we're going. Isaiah 45. Verses 1 through 5. Thus says the Most High to Cyrus. Remember, he was the king that the Most High made a decree that he would let us go back and rebuild the temple. And he also made a decree for everyone to give us money on our way back. So when we were taken, we had money. When the Romans and when the Greeks, the Greeks and the Romans and the Syrians, Nebuchadnezzar, when all of them came and took us, we all had money. We were living well. It didn't save us in any of those times of captivity. Here in Isaiah 45, this is the decree to bring wealth back to us, not wealth that we earned with the toil of our hands, but because the Most High said that he would do this for us, as he did with the first Exodus. And as we that read and study the Old Testament know that there's going to be a second Exodus, which will be the same. So it says, thus says to Cyrus, his anointed one, who was not a Hebrew, whose right hand he has grasped, treading down nations before him, upgirding the loins of kings, opening doors before him and letting no gate stay shut. I will march before you and level the hills that loom up. I will shatter doors of bronze and cut down iron bars. I will give you treasures concealed in the dark and secret hoards. So if the Most High would give this to a king that does his bidding, what will he do for you? His child, his inheritance. I know what the world has told you, but this is what his word is. And the Most High gave him all of that so that he could bless us and baraka us, and he did. Verse 4, still in verse 3, and secret hoards, so that you may know that it is the Most High, that I, Shaddai, the Most High of Yasharallah, who call you by name, not the God of your people, but the God of my people, and I call you by name. To Cyrus. Verse 4, for the sake of my servant Yaakov. So he just stated all these things. And he said he's done for the sake of my servant Yaakov. We are those servants. That's why I start the show with your humble servant. Yasharallah, my chosen ones. I call you by name. I hail you by title, though you have not known me. So, as my brother Waxhopper was on earlier, and we were talking and giving an explanation that in this captivity, many of us don't know who we are, but these words resonate. They resonate with you is because the Most High has allowed them to resonate with you. We are his chosen, and he calls us by title, even though we don't know him, even though we trying to claim to be something else. He still gives us the honor of our title as his chosen Yahshua. All praises. Let's go to our last verse, 55. Isaiah 55, verse 2. Choose the Most High on this Sabbath. Choose the Most High on this Shabbat. Choose the Most High in his wisdom. Allow his wisdom to fill your vessel. Isaiah 55, verse 2. Why do you spend money for what is not bread, your earnings for what does not satisfy? Give heed to me, and you shall eat choice foods and enjoy the richest wine, I believe. Incline your ear to come to me, hearken, and you shall be revived. And I will make you an everlasting covenant. This is what the Most High is asking of you. This is how we get our riches as his chosen people. To come back unto him, to hearken unto his word, and he will make an everlasting covenant with us as he's made. It is for us to come back to it. All praises unto the Most High. And the last sentence of that, the enduring loyalty promised to David. So it says, hearken, and you shall be revived, and I will make with you an everlasting covenant, the enduring loyalty promised to David, King David. That's the promise that the Most High has given unto us if we come back unto him in his word. All praises unto the Most High. All praises. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Stop choosing the misinformation and the money of this world and choose the patience and the love of the Most High. Do not rebuke his discipline. Lend your ear and your heart unto your Creator who loves you and has chosen you. Seek him. That's all I ask. That's all he asks. Be shalom. All praise. Shabbat shalom. I will see you guys on Monday night for What is a Hebrew. Until then, I pray the Most High covers you and your family and all your loved ones. Be shalom. Shabbat.